When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois, live on a Thursday night to talk about American soccer, maybe a whole hour on Folarin Balogun.
Oh, I'm not
Jared
saying
Dubois.
all that. I'm not saying
No?
all that. I'll either say Flo or Balogun. I'm not saying the whole thing.
You can't say. I think it's just a fun name to say. I'm not even sure I'm 100% accurate to the correct
It almost sounds like one of the.
pronunciation.
If you had to ask me 2 years ago,
Yeah.
what that was, I would have said that sounds like one of the Musketeers.
Folarin Balogun sounds like a musketeer.
Yeah, like our like what are they? Like D'Artagnan and
Sure.
What are the other
yes. Renoir. I don't remember. D'Artagnan
Yeah.
is the only one I remember. Yeah. People remember the Three Musketeers. I don't think I've ever read the Three Musketeers. I don't know. You might actually put Balogun in a group of Three Musketeers. There's a very good chance, but the reason that we are so excited to have him, the reason he chose the United States of America over England and Nigeria, the homeland of his parents, is because he knows people. He's got boys on this team. This is the Vibe Squad thing coming
Hey, the
back
first
here.
Englishman we landed.
This is that's right. We've had a couple of those. This is the Vibe Squad thing. This is a guy who wants to be part of a young movement, and it's happening despite the fact we don't even know who the permanent head coach is going to be. Maybe something on that a little bit later in the program. But yeah, we're here to celebrate Folarin Balogun. We got the flow. That's a good shout. We were just working. You guys know, the traditions here on the Best Soccer Show. We have drops for people. Now, the board got wiped out a while back, so I'm still slowly building it up. But we've got this. That's Christian Pulisic's drop. I'm not sure he's earned it
these days.
recently for Chelsea. Maybe more so for the United States.
As in, we wonder where he is.
Individual people get drops depending on if they measure up to the honor and feel like Folarin Balogun. I mean, he hasn't done anything for our national team yet, Jared, but we should celebrate with some drop here on the Best Soccer Show. I don't know I don't know where we go with it. We go with flow.
Well, we've already decided we can't go the gun route. It's too like jarring in today's America to go the gun route, like the Balogun or something like that.
Yeah.
we could go something English. We could say something English.
Son,
respect
did you or did you not say a couple minutes ago when we got connected, getting ready to do the show, we linked up. Our satellite was sending signals up into the sky, and Jared jumps on the camera, and he had I guess you had said you mowed your lawn. I can't believe you mow your own lawn. He was out there mowing his lawn like a plebe.
For the record, for about 10 years I did not. Now that I have kids that are of age, I'm trying to make sure they understand how to do it.
He's got to set the example. So he jumps on. He's wearing a cutoff shirt, and he was like, "Balaguns or sun's out, Balaguns out."
It was a tank top. Nick
Balaguns
couldn't rock
out.
his, so I wanted to rock it for him.
He couldn't rock his. Why
Remember,
couldn't he?
he got his tank top in the mail, and there was something wrong with it. He got it for Florida. He was excited for his trip.
That's right.
He bought
That's
he bought a Florida tank top, which I'm assuming has a gator and a book with a cross through it. I don't know, but he had this tank top, and for some reason it didn't come out right. And I think he said the cut of it was wrong.
Right. Okay, so you were rocking a tank top in his honor? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm getting from you? Okay, whatever. Sun's out, Balagun's out. And now Flow Rider, Flow Rider's a good shout, actually. Balogun has decided to play for the United States of America. And immediately, Jared, look, I think that there is a backlash to the excitement that I would like to address first and foremost.
You actually brought this up.
I did. Feel Me Flow by Naughty by Nature. That is in my wheelhouse. That is...
we were pressed for time. We were trying to get the drop together right before the show. We ran out of time, but Jason did bring that one up as a potential candidate.
We might try to figure that one out. I ran into some copyright issues and trying to get it set up in the last couple minutes before the show. But I saw some backlash to the excitement. I saw some people saying like, "Oh, everybody's acting like Folarin Balogun's the second coming of Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo. He's not that good, or he's inexperienced."
You're on big soccer again, huh?
And it's like, bro, just chill out. Like, fans are allowed to be excited about stuff like this. And no, I don't think anybody's under the illusion that Folarin Balogun is one of the top 10 strikers in the world or anything ridiculous like that. We're not putting the guy on a pedestal. We just recognize talent when we see it, and he's backed it up with 19 goals in Ligue 1, which last time I checked is a pretty good league.
Let's go back 2 years. We were excited for Yunus Musa, right? And 2 years later, do we feel like that we wasted our excitement? Do we feel like we didn't like?
No.
Yeah,
no.
We're very happy with that. So Gino Dest, we were very excited about. He's having some struggles at the club level, but I still feel that he's one of the better right backs in CONCACAF at least. So I'm not worried about having misplaced pleasure.
When the hot person out there that you got a crush on chooses you over somebody else, maybe with a better car, maybe with just a little bit more cash in the pocket,
country club membership,
country club membership, maybe those kind of things. When you feel like you have maybe outkicked your coverage a little bit, maybe you're punching above your weight, you're gonna feel good about that, right? We have to feel good about that.
So are all the people that put like American flags on every one of his Instagram posts, are those the people at school that were all just asking like, hey, what do you think of this guy? Hey, what do you think of this guy? They've been talking to us up at school, and now she finally chose us.
I mean, something like that.
No, credit to I am not a fan of the Twitter warriors of the USMNT and robot people and stuff like that.
Careful. Don't paint everybody with a broad brush.
I'll go back. If your Twitter handle has USMNT in it somewhere, I'm talking about you. Okay, so if you're one of those people, usually you annoy the crap out of me.
I would like to amend that slightly. If your Twitter handle has USMNT in it and the avatar is anonymous, or a picture of Gooch, or a picture of, I don't know, Christian Pulisic, then it's just, you're gonna get labeled.
But for the first time ever, I have to shake those people's hands because their unbridled fanaticism, bordering on.
You know what,
crossing
Jared?
lines.
This is the
finally
thing.
Worked for us.
People acted desperate, and it worked. People acted desperate.
I don't know if it was desperate, dude.
Oh, I think it was desperate. Come on, it's what I mean. I know it's all bullshit, right? But when we were in our dating phases, when we were younger men, when we were out there looking for love, what was the thing that your boys always told you when you liked a girl? Don't tell her you like her. Don't tell her you like her. Don't show her like you like her. Play cool. You talk about swingers all the time on this show. Play it cool. Play it cool, bro. And nobody played it cool. Nobody, when it came to Folarin Balogun, as soon as we got a sniff, as soon as that man showed up in Orlando, it was like, let's go, let's swarm him.
As Connor just said in the chat, sometimes the nerds win.
Sometimes the nerds win.
The nerds win on this one, man. Like, I'm happy. There's no reason for you. We don't want to tell you that. We don't want to bring down your happiness. We don't want to let you like fall off this hill. They're like, it's a fun place to be right now. Enjoy it. It's a win. Is it the game changer? We don't know. We asked the question, even in our thumbnail tonight. Is it the game changer? We don't know. It's too early. But what you can say is that a leading goal scorer in one of the top leagues in Europe had a choice to make and chose us.
I would rather have him than not, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I would rather have him choose us than not. And I was one of those people that said, until the man announces, until the one-time switch is filed, I don't know that I'm going to really believe it's happening. Even when he showed up in Orlando, even when we got reports that he had talked to Anthony Hudson, even when we had besties.
Does anyone know how long
Slack,
it takes for the paperwork to go through? Like, can we nail down the date this happened?
I would love to know that, but I was going to say that we had besties in our Slack, patreon.com/thebestsoccershow, to join the community, who were telling us they went down to that game. Where was that game? The Nations League game? Where were we playing?
Not the Orlando one, the one after it. It was Grenada? No.
Grenada. They went down to Grenada. They went to watch the game. They saw Anthony Hudson hanging out in a beachside bar, as you do when you're in Grenada. They said, hey, what about Folarin Balogun? And he was like, maybe, playing it coy. Apparently that stuff was working, whatever it was working.
All right, so how long does it take for a switch to happen? Is it like you put the paperwork in on Monday and it was through on Tuesday? Are we talking this took a while?
I would imagine it's 30 days or something. I wonder if there's like a grace period. Like,
let's assume it's 30 days.
You know how some states will have a rule that you have to be separated for 6 months before you can get divorced, so that you can cool down,
cooling off period.
Maybe figure out if you want to stay together. I wonder if FIFA's like, you know what? We're not going to process this right away, just in case you want to change your mind.
Nick,
so that
can you do us a favor? Can you look up the date of the Grenada game and when that was, if you wouldn't mind? I'm interested to know if let's say it's 30 days.
Yeah, that would have been about 60 days, because I think that was mid-March that game happened.
I think it was late March.
Okay, let's say 45, 50 days.
Okay, somewhere in that range. That means that was the pivotal moment. Like,
March
here's
24th.
March 24th. Okay.
So we're saying that means, let's say late April. Let's say if it took 30 days, or April
7 weeks
18th.
or so. 7 weeks or so.
Yeah, so within 2 or 3 weeks of that, assuming the 30-day timeline, 2 or 3 weeks of that, that also means that Southgate's press in the last week saying that he was going to give him a spot and that he was going to get called up in the summer, maybe a little bit too late.
Did he say that, or did he kind of say, well, I'm going to talk to him? They sent the U21 coach to France, and he was going to have a sit-down with Folarin, with Flo, and say, hey, yo, look, there might be a spot for you. I mean, certainly we want you in the U21 team. You got to work hard to make the Three Lions squad. And people are talking about this too, right? The idea that Balogun chose the United States because essentially it was too hard to make the England team anytime soon. That the Harry Kane factor decided this. First of all, I don't care. I literally do not care. But I'm not sure it's that simple. And look, again, it's very possible that Balogun made a choice. I know lots of people were saying that in addition to the idea of, he's not as good as you think he is, there was also that notion of, oh, he only did this for money. I'm still trying to figure out how that works, what that means, because okay, maybe he gets a couple of years at the international level he wouldn't have for England, the senior level. How does that bring him more cash necessarily?
You could say that he's going to be this starting striker on a guaranteed World Cup team. It's not guaranteed England makes it. They probably will, but they've missed in the past. And also that in a year where that country's going to have a huge amount of marketing around it because they're hosting the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think...
You saw Wes McKinney doing like wand things for Continental Tire or something, whatever he was doing.
It's not, though, a guarantee, right? It's what I'm saying is, I don't know, maybe the ceiling on making money as a U.S. international with a World Cup coming to America is higher in the end. Again, you're talking about a country that only really cares about soccer every 4 years. You're not going to be known for any of your club exploits. You're not going to be known for what you did for the U21s, which certainly people who care about English football are paying attention to. I just think that there's no guarantee he would have made the England squad at any point, right? That we just don't know. If he had stuck with England and eventually broken through, let's say in the next 2 years when he's 23, 24 years old, isn't it a better bet that you're going to make a ton of money off of being an English international, especially if you're starting for that team, just in terms of pure fame around the world?
It's a bigger barrier to entry. But I will also say this. If he had just accepted, if he had gotten a call up for England and accepted it just like everyone else does, would he have gotten nearly the same media exposure, even in his own country of England, than he did? I know they were covering this on Sky Sports.
He was never going to... So it's that thing of you're going to get coverage when you make a decision to change from England. You're never going to get a coverage when you just stay English. Like if he just stayed committed to the England program, he doesn't have to make an announcement. And if he did, obviously everybody in the media would be like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Resident Englishman Nicholas Murray has said... According to FIFA, what?
Nicholas Murray's an American, first of all.
Sorry, my bad.
He may have started in England.
Like Balogun. Like Balogun.
Sure,
now
absolutely.
American.
Like Balogun, absolutely, yes.
Chose his country of choice. According to FIFA's online guide to submitting a request for eligibility or change of association, it's a 6-step process. That doesn't sound quick.
It can't be quick. If you're and FIFA they don't process stuff quickly.
One of those things is burning the flag of the old country.
There's stuff sits on a desk in Switzerland for like a week before anybody's like, what's this? Oh, this is a one-time. Well, no, that's true. One-time switch. By the way,
clarification on the eligibility for the national teams of England and America.
Well, I just say that Nicholas Murray, he's been in America for a long time. I consider the man American, in addition to his British citizenship, which clearly he has. All right, so the question of whether he makes more money playing for the U.S. over England, I don't even think that's really a factor here. I think it's possible that he saw a difficult path to playing for England. By the way, Nigeria was out there, and I'm not an expert on the Nigerian national team. I've seen an opinion from a Nigerian fan who posts his stuff on Twitter that Balogun would have been 5th choice with the Super Eagles. Okay, maybe. I guess I don't know.
At least 2nd, but
it could have been that this is the path of least resistance. He wants to play international soccer now. Maybe that does, as somebody said, maybe that does raise his transfer fee in the short term because international experience exposure.
Also in Nigeria, not a guaranteed World Cup.
Sure, that's true. That's true too. That's all this stuff are factors. I don't know though that if you're a European club And Americans are becoming more and more desirable. Don't get me wrong. I mean, look at us. But if you're a European club, are you like, yeah, I definitely want to go sign that 21-year-old player who every time the U.S. has a game has to fly halfway across the world. He's got to go to altitude Mexico. He's got to go play in these difficult conditions in Central America.
Jason, has it ever changed the decision for Brazilian?
No, but Brazilians are already... Brazilians are accepted as the creme de la creme of world football
I think
players.
we're past that. I think we're past that now.
Okay.
I think the stigma is off American players these days. I think if you're good enough, you're
Like
good enough.
completely off?
Well, why would a
stigma?
team shoot themselves in the foot if a player can help them based off like, I don't like Americans?
That's true, but I think the question has always been...
You know what they like? Every team likes money, and Americans have a lot of it to spend.
Well, okay, so...
How many Leeds jerseys got bought in the U.S. this year?
You're going to argue that maybe Flo gets purchased at a higher fee because he brings in shirt sales. All right, that's possible. That's possible. I'm not going to say you're completely wrong about that. I was just going to say, though, the measure of this is if we got a Brazilian in our scouting system and an American in our scouting system, and we rate them both equally, who are you picking? Who are you choosing?
Like
I think
to win
generally,
a game?
I just in terms of signing a player, if they're both, this player and this player are very comparable, they roughly cost the same amount of money. Are we going to go for the Brazilian or are we going to go for the American? What do you think most clubs are going to do? You said there's no stigma, but that doesn't mean we're on the same level of Brazilians or Argentinians.
No, but we all know that 50% of Brazilians flare out anyway. They're not all they get this tag and
that's
people
only
pay money for.
That's only because it's a numbers game and there's a billion of them out there in world football.
I'm not going to entertain that question. It's a bad question. It's who knows what each club could. I would say someone like Leeds probably does care about jersey sales. Someone like Manchester United, maybe not so much. They have a lot more money. They're not relying on it nearly as much.
But maybe he sells enough jerseys to help the Glazers pay the interest on their loans or whatever. Like, hey, you never know. It could be tossing that out there.
I think the interesting question I want to talk about is how does it actually work? Balogun's coming to the U.S. Mm-hmm. We are assuming right here. Here's a question from Steve Hidalgo right here in the chat. Hypothetical: first game he's eligible. Everyone's healthy. Does Flo start over Pepe and Sargent, etc.?
Okay. So he has already dropped a breadcrumb that says "See you in June." So we expect him to be in the Nations League team, right?
Presumptuous.
Why? Yeah, maybe. Look. Ricardo Pepi's coming off a great year, and we have some transfer rumors that we maybe should talk about.
Got poked in the eye and had to come off the game on the weekend.
He did. That hasn't stopped clubs from eyeing him up, right? That's a thing that's happening. It goes at least per reports. Sargent scored a good number of goals. Now he played 40 games in the English Championship, but he scored a good number of goals. Obviously we've got Daryl Dike's out injured. Haji Wright's been scoring goals in Turkey. He's been wanted by a couple different clubs. Apparently, Antalyaspor is saying no.
I don't know if you noticed or not. Jesus Ferreira Napoli worthy.
Apparently, Jesus Ferreira could be going to play in Italy. I mean, at least those are the rumors. Does he start? Does Folarin Balogun start over all of those players? Yes, indeed, he does. Yes,
I think assuming that he shows in practice that he has the right combinations and runs the offense that Anthony wants to run, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't.
I don't even care about that. I mean, I do. I guess it's you need a team to be cohesive and play together. All about dysfunctional teams.
He's not coming in for a friendly.
No, I understand that. If you're saying he puts forth the effort, if he shows that he's committed, he really wants to come in and win the game.
It's going to be a game likely against Mexico. That he's going to have to go into a rivalry he's never played in before, in a system and guys he's never played with before. A few guys he's played with the national at the lower levels. But
question for you: do you think that Flo Balogun has ever had authentic Mexican food in his life? You think he has?
He's played for the U.S. national team at points, so he's been in the U.S. I think he has. Now, if those camps were in Florida, probably not.
No, he came in for
camps had to be in
Did he come in for
right?
one camp? He came in for one youth camp. And I'm not sure. I think it probably went to Chi-Chi's, which we talked about. Chi-Chi's is closed down. Maybe is Chi-Chi's the one that closed down? I don't know.
Talk about Chi-Chi's all you want.
What's another one? Chili's. He's probably been to Chili's.
Oh, God.
or somebody was like, "Yo, bro, you got to try the Mexican over here. Let's go to Chipotle."
Oh, jeez. Yeah, but here, by the way, by having this conversation, we're not saying that Folarin Balogun is not better than Pepe or Sargent or any of the guys we just talked about. We're just talking about if he starts right away, and that's not about better. That's about who does Anthony Hudson believe in that game's going to help them win.
Sure. But we're projecting, right? We're putting ourselves into Hudson's shoes.
He is better than them.
In terms of his talent level, Yes. Now, I still believe Ricardo Pepi is going to be a very, very good striker at a decent level. I don't think he's where Balogun is right now. So if we're talking about where everybody is, it's Balogun first.
But the dude also left the turd chilling in the toilet last season in Germany. Like, I can still smell that.
Yeah, but okay. And I know that going out in public with your agent and complaining about treatment is not necessarily the best way to go about these things, and it could be he's trying to cover for his problems at Augsburg. But I do think Ricardo Pepi was set up to fail when he went to a relegation struggling club in the Bundesliga for $20 million, their highest fee ever paid for a player. American connections to the ownership of the club. It just set him up to
And I'll be
fail.
consistent, though. I think Josh Sargent still got a little stench on him from a couple of years back, too. I think he's gotten away from it a good amount,
Well, but that doesn't. That's not necessarily pertinent to who starts against Mexico, is it?
Sure, no.
Stench from 2 years ago doesn't stick to those guys now. It's a matter of can you score the goals now to help us beat Mexico in a Nations League semifinal.
If Anthony Hudson sits him, dude has brass balls. Because everyone
he's not going to do
wants
it.
To
He
see
can't.
him.
He cannot
everyone.
do it. Now, the one thing that I'll say is that Hudson doesn't have to coach like his job depends on winning, right? And maybe no American coach in that position would really have to do that because they're probably not going to get fired based on the Nations League, not with U.S. soccer having to eat costs and everything. And I don't know, but Hudson really knows he's not getting this job or keeping this job for much longer, right? If he has it post Gold Cup, and then who knows? But I do think he's going to play ball. I mean, look at the way they announced him, right? Posting videos of all these fans sending tweets, announce Balogun, announce Balogun, announce Balogun.
By the way, if you're a soccer fanboy and you see your tweet come up right there, do you feel ashamed or are you stoked?
Like, no, you're just totally stoked.
You're totally
100% stoked.
Not like,
Absolutely.
oh man, I look like a girl at a New Kids concert in the 90s.
Do you really think that anybody who is inclined to send a tweet like that on the internet in 2023 is ashamed by anything they put on the internet?
Do you think U.S. Soccer had to get permission to put them on there?
Nah. You send your tweet. I think there are other like content mill places and like content creators who will say like, by sending us a tweet you consent to your message being used in future broadcasts and blah blah blah. U.S. Soccer's probably covered by that. Okay. I do want to know if like wouldn't it be amazing if they got Balogun to sit down and he said, yeah, this was the tweet, this one tweet.
This one right here, 3 flags and 2 eagles. This is the one that got me.
That's right.
To say yes.
Right. The one that's like, USMNT football 17695. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that they pulled like a Drake thing or something like Jay-Z reached out, like Drake with like Canadian players like that.
Like we already know that when he was in Orlando, he got the star treatment at the Orlando Magic game. Yeah. And he got treatment at the spring training game for the Yankees. But I don't know if he met Aaron Judge or whatever, but they gave him a jersey. This is the thing that I think people have to think about. And again, it could be money. It could be just the shortest path to playing senior level international football. It could be the World Cup coming in 2026. It could be his boy Musa and these guys, Weo jumping into his comments or jumping into his mentions or whatever on Instagram, his comments. It could be all those things first, but I think this guy likes being American.
I also think there's another part to it too, and we talked about this when we talked about Musa.
This is 100% true, by the way. This is 100% true. U.S. soccer marketing is cheese. They need to chill a little bit.
I think there is something to this, that there is a youth movement going on, and you can get on the bus and ride this or not. Because here's the thing: the U.S. now has a reputation for playing young players. We fielded the second youngest team at the World Cup. Like we will play young players. We want young players. We want this to be this generation, the new generation's team. Yeah. And so if you see that, and you have Gareth Southgate that was even not committal about even bringing you up, why not go someplace where you know that you're going to be appreciated for who you are right now, not who you're going to be later, who you are right now.
It's about being wanted. It's 100% about being wanted. Somebody shows you love, you're automatically.
Now my question is
by the way,
go ahead.
Did we, with all these fans on Twitter and on social media, did we engage in love bombing? Was this a love bombing situation?
Oh, it was love bombing
with Flo. We love bombed him.
I mean, there was stuff all over the screen.
Is that not? That's not what a love bomb is. Oh, Jesus.
BALM. I thought you meant balm, like you rub it on. No? Here's my question for you. Can Flo Balogun play a high-press Jesse Marsh front line?
Well, that's a good question. And 25 minutes into the show, let me just fix my camera. 25 minutes into the show, maybe we should bring up the news, the reports that are out there. And I've seen this from Alex Calabrese on Twitter, AM Calabrese 12, and he apparently covers the Chicago Fire.
No USMNT in that name?
This is meninred97.com. So, Jared, guess what team that's about? meninred97.com. I don't know if you can figure it out. It's about the Chicago Fire. This story says Jesse Marsh, quote-unquote, very close to USMNT appointment. The Chicago legend would have been a candidate for the Fire head coaching job as the sub head, which I don't know that he was going to take that job. Sources with knowledge of the situation, Alex reports, say that his appointment is, quote-unquote, practically done, and if appointed, he could begin after the Gold Cup this summer. How you feeling? How you feeling?
I feel like, honestly, I feel like it was chalk.
You do? Okay. I mean, no, you're right. You're right.
That is chalk.
Yes, you're right. It is chalk. It is chalk. Now, that being said, you can recognize it as chalk and still have feelings about it if it happens, which, until the guy is holding up the scarf and doing all that. I think
the feelings about it are, like I said, it's chalk, but my feelings about it are it's not sexy, but I get it. It's not sexy, but I get it.
So it's like buying a Volvo?
I honestly, yeah, it is. It's like, man, I guess I'm in a part of my life where I'm not really trying to make a statement on the road. I just want my family to be safe.
Oh, God, is that what it is? It's a little bit. It's a little bit. It's like, okay, you know what? It's a little bit better than that. It's like buying, it's like buying the new Ford, but you got the screens in the back of the seats for the kids to watch the shows while you're doing your road trip. Like there's a little bit more than just it's just the most practical option. I think that Jesse is a good coach. I do think that his energy level, his enthusiasm, his media savvy, I think that all benefits the U.S. men's national team. And I think a large part of this job is being that guy and selling the program as much as it is to coach the team. Let's see what the chat says.
BMR209 says, I'm worried that Jesse won't be flexible enough. I think that's
Me
fair.
Too. Me too.
Erica Rivas says, the Federation has no money to pay for a bigger name. That could be true as well.
I agree. Yeah.
I think both those two things are honest. That's why he's chalk. Honestly, that's he's affordable.
Okay. I want to zone in on this. Is he a Corolla? Do you think Connor's right? Is he a Corolla, Jared? Now, my wife drove a Corolla in Puerto Rico. She tells me that she had 200,000 miles on that Corolla.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm a man who's never driven a Corolla. What does that say about me? I'm kind of happy to have that stature. But
wow. I've driven some things that are not the greatest, but I've never driven a Corolla. Is it a minivan?
I don't think a Corolla makes it to the EPL. I think it's a little bit higher than that. That's why I say Volvo.
Okay. I mean, but all right. You're right. What kind of Corolla makes it to the EPL? What kind of minivan gets a Premier League job? Probably not. That's probably not the right way to think about this. But again, he's not.
A little bit of clout.
He's not the Maserati. He's not the Maybach. He's not the, and I know maybe that's shooting for the moon, but even coming down a level, he's not even the Corvette, Jared. He's not.
I like this one from Chasely. He's a Genesis, a flashy copy of a classier product.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
Not bad. I mean, I like Jesse, and every time it's been a while because he's been busy, but every time that I get a chance to talk to him on the radio show that I do every day, which Jared, keep telling you about. Not sure why you're not on board with that yet. Every time I talk to him, I'm impressed by him. I like talking to him. I think that's going to resonate with a group of players. But again, is he flexible enough tactically? He doesn't have any international experience. While I don't think he's as tied into the Berhalter, Reina, the family atmosphere / incestuous / problematic relationship thing, he's still an American soccer guy who knows all of those people. They've been going to the same cocktail parties for years. I mean, not literally, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to have an outside perspective. I came to that.
You have outside perspective. It's a sporting director.
I suppose that's true.
There is a guy that's trying to put a different spin on this. Now, it's unfortunate that his second hire, Gooch being the first, also, Gooch is in the circle, but not He's adjacent to this. He's overlapping. The Venn diagram overlaps a little bit. He's a former U.S. soccer player, but of a different generation and of a different mindset.
Yeah.
Jesse Marsch far more overlaps with the Berhalter Reyna timeline, but I don't never get the feeling that he was necessarily in the club though.
No, I don't think he was. He wasn't. Did he get a cap? Did we talk about this already? Did he ever get a cap?
I think he did. I think we said he did. I think we said
maybe
one
cap. If he has a cap, it's like one cap. But I mean, I don't know. Like
I think we said he did, but Critton did not.
I'm going to bring this back.
So feel respect for the Gegner.
I want him to give our halftime speeches in all
Can we also
Austrian
get the other? Can we drop the other
German.
part too? The other part of the drop where he does like
And get
you're
fucking
fucking.
stuck in with Droog. And
I
get
love
fucking
it.
stuck in with Droog.
I'm going to keep doing it.
And get fucking stuck in with Droog.
I don't know what Madruk is, but get fucking stuck in.
I
can say
love.
that.
What do you call it, Germish? Like what do you call England and English and Germish put together?
That's a good question.
England.
Germish is pretty fun.
Germish.
Yeah, I guess that's what that would be. I mean,
Here's the thing. What does a Jesse Marsch international team look like? I don't know. If you base it on what you know about him, let's entertain for a moment the hypothetical that he plays Red Bull ball or he tries to play Red Bull ball with the U.S. men's national team. What does that mean for the starting lineup of the U.S. national team?
well, let's see.
Who's out? Who's in?
I don't think it
that?
means anything at all for the midfield. I think you're still playing MMA. There's no question about that.
I think so too.
You could argue for McKennie to be swapped out depending on the situation. I suppose you could argue for that. I don't.
But he's also the midfielder he wouldn't got in the transfer
No,
window.
I understand that. I that's right. I do think that when he's at his best, with the ground he covers, the athleticism, the energy levels, I think he's a good fit for that. Forward-wise, I mean, I don't think you have to change a lot.
I'm going to go through a pick your poison with you real quick. I'm going to give you a couple of names real quick, and you tell me who wins.
Well, I can tell you who I think is kind of in trouble with this.
Okay, we'll get to that one because I'm sure I'll name it along the way.
Okay.
Because I'm going to throw this name here, and I'm going to compare everyone I can against this name because we know that this is a Jesse Marsch name. Brennan Aronson or Jordan Morris?
Brennan Aronson.
Brennan Aronson or Tyler Booth?
Probably Brendan Aronson. It's gonna be hard. His energy
Brendan
level
Aronson
is so
or Tim
high.
Weah?
Ooh, that one's interesting. I don't think Weah is the best presser. I think he does a nominal job with it, but I think his ability to exploit space when you recover the ball is valuable in that system. I think I would say Weah.
Brendan Aronson or Gio Reyna?
Well, that's the guy I think is in trouble here. I think Gio Reyna's a better player than Brendan Aronson.
Not saying anything. I'm saying
No.
I'd say three of those guys might be better than Brendan Aronson, to be honest with you. But we're talking about Jesse Marsch, Red Bull football.
Yeah, I think that if he's going all out Red Bull football and he's got a choice between Aronson and Reyna, I think more often than not he's going to choose Aronson. I really do.
That is going to kill him with the U.S. national team fans. If that goes that direction.
It could.
You
It
could even
could.
make the case that Christian Pulisic isn't the right person on the other side.
Absolutely you could. You could say Weah and Aronson and leave both Pulisic and Reyna out if you're going to be pressing.
Which is crazy.
But I don't think that's possible. I really don't think that whoever the head coach of the national team is, regardless of what their system is that they run, and this is where you get into problems with Marsch if he is committed to the high press, is you kind of have to play Pulisic if he's healthy. Right? There's just nobody else that can do what he does. Yeah. Reyna is slightly different, although Reyna is goal dangerous in a way from his position that I don't think anybody else on the field is, even Pulisic at this point.
You can't have the Reyna, I lost the ball, I'm not running back attitude, the body language that he has in that kind of system.
I do think Reyna gets hurt by his body language in terms of perception. I don't think he's as lazy as people make him out to be. I don't have numbers to back that up. He's a much more athletic player than I think people give him credit for, and maybe that is the thing. Maybe it requires Jesse to come in and sell Gio on playing this way so that he can be a fit. You know, sometimes the player has to meet the coach halfway. Like, sometimes that's a thing. Now, at the same time, we're not so deep or so rich in talent that you can bring in a head coach who's just like my way or the highway, MFers, and if you don't do it, you sit. Gio sitting, Christian sitting, whoever else doesn't want to do the work is sitting. You can't do that.
So let me ask you a different question, then let's entertain a different possibility. Jesse Marsch is still the coach, but he's not married to the Red Bull style, and now you have a piece in Flo Balogun.
Yeah.
What is the right system to play when you finally have your number 9? And it's not a big man. It's a modern, more dynamic number 9. Is a 4-3-3 the right way?
Now, maybe, but I might rotate the triangle a bit. I might rotate that midfield a bit.
4-2-3-1?
Something like that. Yes, something like that. 4-2-3-1, yes, basically. Because you get some width. You have some players who are playing high but are certainly wide players. You have Balogun, and then you have somebody underneath him who can drift and move into different pockets of space. I mean, it's kind of a tried and true way of doing things. It just hasn't been the U.S. way of doing things. When we've tried to play a creative player, not in the hole, but kind of in that spot, it hasn't always worked, right? And now maybe there isn't a guy who fits that, but that is a way, depending on how you play the press. If there is as much pressing, less pressing, as you said, if he's not married to his system, there is a way for Gio to get that spot and to make it his own. I really think that's true.
Also, the question is that spot for Gio in the midfielders at up top? You know, if it's Marshball, it's not in the midfield. I don't think. Maybe you can make the case for him up top. There's not quite as much asked upon him up front.
I mean, the idea is that you're pressing. You're pressing with everybody, right? And you start your press from your front line. Now, there are
your man is the guy directly in front of you. That's the Red Bull style. Your man is the guy directly in front of you.
That's the insane man marking approach to the pressing. I don't know that Jesse would do that, or that he even did that at Leeds most of the time, because he took Bielsa's system and throttled down a little bit. It still didn't work. They still got eviscerated in counterattacking situations when they turned the ball over. When the other team was able to just play right through them. And that's you do worry about that, right? You do worry about it. Now, very much like Leeds, who fell apart when Tyler Adams got hurt, the United States is going to need Tyler Adams, sort of regardless of what Jesse does. If again, this is all with the caveat, if he gets this job, if this report is true. Now, by the way, if the report is true, and I'm seeing like this reporter, and I'm not questioning him. I don't know him. I'm not trying to hate on him. Alex Calabrese. He said that on his Twitter, after he linked to this story, he said, I've seen people say that he might get announced tomorrow. I don't think that's true. I think he'll take over after the Gold Cup. Why? If Jesse's available, why wait? If Jesse's available, I mean, maybe you get through the Nations League, which is coming up in, 2.5 weeks? Maybe you do that. But why on earth would you wait to install Jesse until after the Gold Cup if he's available and Anthony Hudson is not your guy for the future? Why would you waste that tournament?
It is a little bit weird because there does seem like there's enough time to actually get in there and do it. Maybe it's Jesse's request. I don't know. You could also say that, hey, they want to see out what they've been working on for this time right here, come in fresh afterwards. There's a large gap afterwards to really start putting your style and putting in place what you want to do. Maybe the technical components he's bringing with him are under contract till the end of the season somewhere.
I mean, he needs his guys. Chris Armas.
There's a lot of reasons why you would do it.
Chris Armas right now?
Unemployed, I think.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
If you're Anthony Hudson, you're Berhalter's guy, right?
You were Berhalter's guy. Yeah.
Do you stay on for the Jesse Marsh? You stay on with Jesse Marsh, or like, hey, I honestly think his capital gets no higher than it is right now. Than if he stays. The dude knocked an interim job out of the park. He really did. Like everything you expect him to do in the 5-6 months he's been in charge of this team,
for the most part.
What do you mean he helped land Balogun? He's got the results he needed to get.
The bar is extremely low. Let's just be clear. The bar is extremely low. It's not like they played lights out in that Nations League window and everybody went, yeah, Anthony Hudson really knows what he's doing.
One of the games they won 7-0.
No, I know, but that was against a completely overmatched team, right? In the way that, and again, he's not supposed. It's
he also the results. Tyler Adams.
Okay, so you're
Why
not
going to give the guy credit? The guy did a good job.
No. I'm not saying he doesn't get credit. I'm just saying the bar is low for somebody we don't expect to take the job, to get the job permanently, right? It's a matter of like, don't fuck it up. Oh, you didn't fuck it up? Good job not fucking it up. Like, I don't know.
I'm not saying he just cleared. I'm saying he jumped over it. Like, I think he did very, very well. I think he actually did it well enough to put his name in legitimate contention against the people that are also being talked about for the full job.
Are you serious? You really think that he did enough?
Yeah, to be considered next to like someone like Hugo Perez, yeah.
No, okay.
To be considered next to Jim Curtin, yeah.
Okay, so
Jesse
you
Marsh,
came-
maybe there's a gap there. If
You
we're talking,
came- you
we don't
came
know
out
who
of
else was in the conversation.
No,
was
we
Yogi
don't.
Love actually in the
We don't.
conversation?
No.
Was Marino ever actually in the conversation?
No.
Vieira might have been. I think he would be in the conversation with Vieira.
You think Anthony Hudson would have been
Yes.
as strong a candidate as
I didn't
Patrick
say as
Vieira?
strong. I said he was enough to be in contention for the job.
Okay, again,
Legitimate
that also
contention for the job against that.
that
person.
also is a low bar. With a vacuum that you need to fill, the bar is relatively low. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have been a candidate on some level just because we don't know what the pool looks like necessarily. But I don't think that he did enough for me where I was like, yeah, that guy, I really think he'd be a decent head coach for the U.S. men's national team. I like what he did as a caretaker. I liked what he said. I think some of the choices he made were the right choices. They seemed very obvious to me for the most part. I mean, again, how much credit should he get for that? I don't know.
Yeah, but here's this from Steve Fidalgo. Jared, have you forgotten his time with the Rapids? No, I haven't. But just like we said with Josh Sargent, like his turn's a few years old, man. Like I haven't forgotten, but also I haven't forgotten Jesse Marsh put Leeds in a relegation fight. I haven't forgotten that he got kicked out at Red Bull Leipzig. I haven't forgot that Montreal didn't work. He hasn't been necessarily a rock star either.
Okay, so what we're saying here is that none of the
People
choices,
are imperfect.
None of the legitimate choices for the U.S. men's national team were all that great, and we ended up with Jesse. And I don't want to. I don't want to make it. That's true. We're believing this report for the purposes of this program. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to make it sound like I think this is going to be a disaster. I think that there's a reasonable shot that Jesse does a pretty good job. I also knew, practically speaking, pragmatically speaking, realistically speaking, that the Mourinhos were not going to have. That's not going to happen. Pochettino, not going to happen. Even a guy like Bielsa, not going to happen. It's culturally, it's just too much of a gap there. I mean, there was really nobody that sort of like was above replacement level. And Jesse has a Premier League job on his record. But that's what I'm saying. Like Jesse, and maybe this is a better way to think about this. Maybe I need to do this as an exercise, Jared. If we went back to 2007, all right. So the United States.
I'm not married.
Men's.
I got no kids. I'm not married.
Before you run off and be single, Jared, think for a second. The United States has crashed out of the group stage of the 2006 World Cup. A World Cup where they were ranked in the top 5 going into the tournament, by the way. I'm just going to point that out.
Ridiculous.
FIFA's ranking system was garbage back then.
Clint Dempsey, only goal.
Bruce Arena is no longer going to be the head coach of the national team. He had a good run in 02. 06 was a big disappointment. U.S. Soccer is looking for a replacement for Bruce Arena. If this Jesse Marsh, right? If Jesse Marsh was a generation older and he had the resume he has now, and they hired him to coach the U.S. men's national team, you would be thrilled, right?
A coach with Premier League's experience?
Yeah. Even with the failure,
what we got was Bob Bradley, which in hindsight, I still think Bob Bradley is one of our better coaches of the last. He's probably the best coach of the last 3, to be honest with you. If you're really,
if you want to rank them. Oh man,
if you want to go from 94 to now, you have Bruce Arena number 1. Let's go. You at least you have Arena.
I know who's first and I know who's last. That's what I know. I know that Bruce is first and Samson is last. That's what I know.
God, I forgot Samson. That's how bad it was. What I was saying. You have Bora, you have Arena, you have Samson, you have Bradley, you have Klinsmann, and you have Berhalter.
Man, that Bora, Bradley, Klinsmann group, and Berhalter too. Oh man, that's a messy.
For me, obviously it's Arena. I think Bob Bradley is the second best coach. I think he got a lot. You got to think that
he won the group. If you just go by results, he won the group. That's a thing.
He won the group, and also I think Sunil Gulati, he got a short leash because Sunil Gulati was enamored.
Is that a joke about Sunil's height? Come on, man, you're better than that.
He had a short leash because Sunil Gulati was infatuated with getting Jurgen Klinsmann the job.
He was.
I don't think Bob Bradley did enough to lose the job at that point when he lost it.
Well, if you want to go back to that history, the thing about, and look, Bob had a cycle, and I was not on board for another cycle for Greg Berhalter, and I don't remember what we were saying in 2011 at the time, but it really wasn't like, oh, we love Bob for another cycle. We weren't. I don't think we were 100% on board
It was
with
like,
that. But
should we have 2 cycle coaches? Was a conversation.
right, that was a
yeah.
question. Again, after Bruce crashed out in 2006 at the World Cup in Germany. The thing about Bob is that Bob was trying to take the U.S. to that next level in terms of how they played, and he ultimately lost his job because of it, because they got ripped apart by Mexico after going up 2-0 in that Gold Cup final. And if he hadn't been like risky, which we asked our coaches to do, right? We wanted our coaches to stop being.
Don't be scared of Gio dos Santos.
He was Bunker Bob. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's Bunker Bob, empty bucket." Jared, how many times did we say the word "empty bucket" talking about Bob Riley? Then Bob was like, "You know what? Fuck the empty bucket." I'm sorry, there's a lot of f-bombs on this show tonight. He said, "Screw the empty bucket. We're gonna go for it." They scored twice to open up that game, and then Gio dos Santos went off, and Mexico won the game like 5-2 or whatever.
So to answer the question, here's my definitive
4-2.
ranking: Arena, Bradley,
Okay.
Berhalter,
Ooh.
Klinsmann,
Bora,
Sampson.
just because
Bora
we
just
were
didn't have much to work with. I mean,
didn't have much to-
the
not Bora's
qualifier was guaranteed. We'll
That's
never
true.
know for sure
We were
how good
auto-qualified.
that team would have been.
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to let the man do
Nick's
thumbs
giving
down.
Nick's giving me thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs down. I'm not going to let the man do thumbs down.
He
and
didn't
then
know who
come on
2 of
the
those
show.
people were until I just said
King
it.
of Chicago.
Let's bring him on the air. Nicholas Soup and Salad. I'm going to assume, I'm going to guess, this is my prediction, that Nick's thumbs down is where you put Berhalter. That's what
Absolutely.
this is about. Yeah, okay.
Really, the guy that
Yeah.
won the Nations League, won the Gold Cup, beat Mexico 5 times, and took the U.S. out of the group stage in the World Cup. That's the guy you're saying is not good.
Who's better? No, don't do it. Don't.
Where are you
take his
putting him?
bait.
Where are you
I
putting
guess
him?
I was
take his
Number
bait.
1?
Don't take his bait.
I was basing it not on
Results?
in between World Cups. I was just talking about World Cups in general.
Oh, well, that's.
I
But
guess
I think
that's
that's
their job. Their job.
that's an
know.
incomplete way to judge the coach because he's obviously.
So
more
if you're
than
looking at it from that perspective,
I'm not
then
judging
yes,
by how much
would
I
give-
like him.
I
Yeah.
would give Berhalter the edge over Klinsmann. I was
Okay.
just thinking from a World Cup perspective.
Nick, think how mad you were when he
Klinsmann
left
got out of
Landon
a tougher
Donovan.
group.
When he left Landon Donovan off that roster, how mad were you?
I don't know if I was mad.
Ooh.
I was shocked. Not really mad. I was just kind of like, well, let's see how this goes.
Oh, it's been a long time.
But
Yeah.
again, I thought he got out of a tougher group than Berhalter did.
He did. That's fair. I think that's fair. He got a tougher. Well, I mean, okay.
Germany,
that,
Portugal,
yeah,
Ghana.
yeah. That. So
That's fair. I would also
yeah.
say that he had a more established, experienced team to do it with than Berhalter did.
he absolutely
And
did.
That's
I mean,
accurate.
He absolutely did.
He had a lot of not big name, but big experienced guys. From some guys, their second, third. Beasley, his 4th World Cup on that
Yep.
roster. I
Yep.
mean, there's a lot more experience on that roster than
We had what? We had one.
The
player
talent
with
was
World Cup
better on
experience?
Berhalter's though.
Do we had one because of the gap? We had one player with World Cup experience, right? And it was Yedlin.
Yeah,
Is that it?
Yeah,
That was the
it.
list.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's close enough for Klinsmann and Berhalter that you could throw them both together. You could say they're both. What would you say? It was Bruce and then Bob and then those guys, right?
Yeah,
So
I think-
yeah.
I don't
Tied
think
for
it's
third?
a. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
tough
it's
to
a
put Boyd
big
down
distance
that
between
far.
them. You know, I think Klinsmann went out in a bigger disgrace results wise than Berhalter. You could say
At the
Berhalter
end,
off the
first,
field
for sure.
Yeah, so Berhalter didn't lose his job because of results. Klinsmann did.
Yeah, well, he played out his cycle. I mean, you could argue it was a mistake to bring Klinsmann back for a second cycle too, right? Just like Bob, right? And both those guys lost their job because the results, and specifically against Mexico, because Bob lost to Mexico in a Gold Cup final, and then Jurgen lost the magic in Columbus. Dos Acero ended under Klinsmann's watch, which, you know, I don't know. And I don't think this is the debate. The debate is whether or not Jesse Marsch is the right head coach for the U.S. men's national team. And, of course, we're asking that question, presuming that this report is correct. We're also asking it in absence of knowing who any other candidate might have been. Anybody else who might have been
It'll
up
be
for this
interesting when
job,
it comes
outside of
out.
Andy Hudson.
Let me ask you a question. Which soccer journal gets the scoop on what the other candidates were?
Man, that's a good
Bobert?
question.
Chucky Boom Boom?
No. Well, maybe.
Back in the
Maybe,
day,
could
it would be Grant Wall. This is where you miss Grant Wall, these kind of things. He would know.
Maybe. I don't
Taylor?
think Grant was always scooping
Twelman
stuff.
actually knows this stuff usually.
Twelman doesn't. Yeah, Twelman knows people. He gets information. Tenorio, or it would have been State School, but he's out of the game. Got out of the game. That Sam State School.
By the way, speaking of the game, have you seen the preview for the new White Man Can't Jump movie?
I have not. I've seen images. I have not watched a trailer, and I know.
I watched the trailer.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me.
It's shockingly almost like word for word, shot for shot, scene for scene. Like, what I mean by that is both in like the script and stuff like that, but they actually go back to the exact same courts.
Yeah,
like
of
the
course.
same neighborhoods and
would
stuff
you-
like that.
why would you-
No,
I
it's
mean,
just it's interesting. You see him walking down that same staircase over the overpass from the train and stuff like that.
I feel like they should dress like Woody and.
Can I do one spoiler that's in the trailer though? But it's a spoiler. But it's in the trailer.
Okay.
You know when the guy goes back and gets his gun from the car and comes back, and
Yeah.
it's a flamethrower in this one. Little too crazy there for me.
Got to up the ante, I guess.
Yeah.
What did you think? I mean, I've heard about this. I know that this is being produced. It's going to be a streaming thing, right? It's not going to It's not going to be a theatrical release. Yeah. I've heard that. So producing it, behind it, Blake Griffin's involved, right? Is that true?
What?
I think
I didn't know
that's
that.
what I've heard. Yeah,
I was really
why,
hoping for, and I don't know if they're going to do it or not. I was hoping, what was it? The duck and the Duck and the King?
Oh yeah,
King
yeah.
and the Duck. I
You're
was hoping
talking about the old guys. Yeah,
the old guys
when
at
they
the end. I was hoping the
yeah.
King and the Duck would be Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. in
Oh
this
my
one.
God, Morgan. I guess look. This is predates
That's
her
not
life.
Listen, Morgan's of a certain age.
I know. Nicholas Soup and Sausage. Have you seen
Wait,
White Man
Morgan,
Can't
nice
Jump?
picture. That's a nice picture.
He's not. He's shaking his head too.
I have
Nick
not.
has never seen it. Never seen it. Yeah.
Oh my Lord! So when people say you can't hear Jimmy, you don't know what they mean. Wow. Now,
Do
do
you
you
know
think
who
they still use Jimmy, or do you think they use a different band?
Oh, they don't use you. There's no way they use Jimmy. There's
What band
no
do
way.
you choose? Like, what's the most like? What black artists do white people like, but can't really? probably don't
That's
really
got to be. It's
understand?
got to be that same gag. It's got to be the same. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I
Is
don't
it the
know.
Pips?
We could
Pimps?
go with.
Last night, the Pimps?
I was gonna say Prince. I was gonna say
Ooh.
Michael, but Michael's kind of toxic. You can't really mess with Michael anymore.
Pharrell.
It's not gonna be Pharrell.
No,
it's not gonna be Pharrell.
It's got to have more cred in both.
I mean,
communities.
now I'm trying to think about what the window is.
What about
The problem
Outkast? What about Outkast?
I mean, Outkast is hip hop though, right?
Yeah.
So the thing about Jimmy is that Jimmy was a crossover artist.
Oh, you should think something outside hip hop. Okay.
Well, I'm saying that if you think about
Hootie.
the reason that you think about the reason why Jimmy
You
worked
can't
as
blow
the
the
gag,
fish.
That's terrible. Don't say that again. The reason it was Jimmy is because Jimmy was rock. Rock is traditionally thought of as a more white genre, right? But obviously, Wesley Snipes' character, whose name is escaping me, as a black man, appreciated Jimmy too. I mean, I don't know. Let's see, Drake. Clayton says Drake.
All right, so, Morgan and Nick got some homework to do. Go watch White Men Can't Jump, the original,
Yes,
the
report
Rosie
back.
Perez version.
Oh, that's got to be future bonus shows and extra content. We got to have our people go and watch movies they haven't seen and then come back and tell us about
Yeah.
when they've seen them. We already did on last week's bonus show. We already did guess the plot with Nicholas Soup and Sausage, which I thought was pretty fun.
What is a quince?
What is a quince? Yeah.
I know 5 words that start with letter Q.
Who plays the Rosie Perez role? Who
It
plays
is
that role?
a Latina female. I can't remember who it is. I'm blanking
Well,
right
Rosie
now.
Perez is Puerto Rican, so I'm
Puerto
sure
Rican, yeah.
she's got to be Puerto Rican. Right? You got to keep that vibe
I would
going.
think so.
All right. I don't know. Jack Harlow in his acting debut. Jared, do you
Yeah.
know Jack Harlow? Are you aware of Jack
I
Harlow?
didn't know until I watched that trailer.
You have never heard of him? You
No.
don't know anything about him?
And then I
he's
heard some
he's
stuff
a rapper.
afterwards. Yeah, I know that
Yeah,
now.
okay. Okay.
I stopped paying attention to white rappers after Mac Miller, I think. Maybe Logic a little bit.
Oh, no logic. Thank you very much. All right. We should talk about, we don't do a lot of MLS news, generally speaking, especially when there's a big bombshell for the national team and potentially with Jesse Marsh being hired. Got to talk about that. But San Diego's going to get an MLS club, Jared.
My city, San Diego.
Okay, hold on. This is what I was going to say. We have to go to our Southern California correspondent, Mr. Jared Dubois, for a
Do I
report.
put the tank top back on if I'm the Southern California
on-
correspondent?
I mean, sun's out, Balogun's out, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Sun's out, FC San Diego's out. I don't know.
Fun fact about your boy, in case you didn't know, went to San Diego State University,
You were an Aztec.
lived in San Diego for 5 years.
You look so Aztec, Jared. You fit the profile
thank you. I have
of
a
an
tan?
Aztec. Yes, you look Aztec.
but
there's a
love the
report.
city.
So there's a couple of things question wise. First of all, what does this mean for San Diego Loyal, where American soccer legend Landon Donovan is still involved. What is this? Is the city capable of supporting an MLS team at the level that we've come accustomed to with other expansion teams? Will Snapdragon work as an MLS venue? It doesn't have any roofs. And I know they've been playing all their games at 7:30 local time, and that might be a saving grace for San Diego, but you certainly can't play day games at Snapdragon without people getting sun poisoning.
I'll say this. First of all, I'm very surprised that it feels like it's being forced. Oh, I think this is the first city in some time now.
You know why they're doing this, right?
Why?
Because this guy, Mohamed
Billionaires?
Mansour, and the tribe that is his partner in funding this team are spending $500 million.
Oh, yeah. You have to keep the pyramid scheme going. Robert Kraft needs another jet. He needs to not put in grass and keep getting returns on his initial investment. It's a pyramid scheme. How all the people from 96 keep getting millions of dollars every few years.
That's not what a pyramid scheme is.
Yeah,
but
you get in early and you make the most money.
That's not what a pyramid scheme is.
You have to bring more people in. You have to bring more people in to keep making money.
I understand that you're saying that the process works like a pyramid scheme, but it's not, because it's not a scam where somebody is taking money.
You have to say that. You're Big J journalism. I don't. I can say what I need to say. I can speak the people's truth.
Okay.
But here's the it is forced. From what I know from living in San Diego, it is not it's a sports town, but I don't think it's a sport attendance town. You're competing with a lot in San Diego, a lot of other outdoor activities like the beach. Like, you are competing with a different lifestyle that's why I'm also sometimes impressed that Los Angeles works as a sporting venue, and often late arriving, half full crowds,
but
still
okay.
Still
There's a lot of
tickets.
people. There's a lot of people to draw from in Los Angeles. There are tons of people. I mean, the Dodgers do well because it's nice night to go out to the park, right? And LAFC and the Galaxy are going to benefit from that same idea. Like, it's just a nice night out.
If they're smart, they're going to try to tap into the Latino market, being so close to the border. You saw the success that Cholos had with even bringing people from Chula Vista and San Diego across the border to Tijuana to support a team. I think they're hoping to go the other way a little bit as well, but you have to cater to that market a bit.
It's really kind of like, can San Diego or can the region support Club Tijuana and support whatever this FC San Diego.
This
San
is a
Diego
good
FC.
point from Israel Gaxiola.
We don't need
LA
beach
beaches
talk.
suck compared to OC in San Diego. He's right.
He's right. But we don't need beach
But
talk.
the people
Okay,
need to know. For the people living in the middle of the country that think a beach is on a lake, I need them to know that that's not real sand.
Okay, stop being a
real
snob
sand has
for a
glass
second.
in it
Stop being a
and oil.
Yeah, stop being a snob for a second. So the whole Club Tijuana thing is interesting. That's certainly going to be a factor here. Again, I worry about the venue a little bit. It's a nice stadium. It's a perfectly built, small college football stadium. And obviously the Wave have filled it up at times. But again, the Wave also had a bunch of people treated for sun poisoning, as I said, for heat stroke, because it was so damn hot and they don't have a roof on it. Now, again, if you're playing at 7:30 every time, maybe it works. The other part of this that I think is interesting, and I don't know if this is a sell thing or not, like, this is why it's okay. But Mansour is the guy who owns Right to Dream, which is a football factory academy thing. They've got one in Ghana. They've got one in Denmark. They're building one in Egypt. And reports out of San Diego from Mark
Right
Ziegler.
to Dream sounds like a basketball league for short dudes.
The club is apparently, per Mark Ziegler of the San Diego Union Tribune, going to spend like $150 million to build this residential academy situation in San Diego.
Yeah.
They're going to have 120 to 160 players living there, going to school, training in football, training in soccer. This is like, and to me, this is the thing, right? $500 million to get into MLS, where revenues don't really justify that kind of valuation. But you get direct access, and you get access to all of MLS's resources to go build an academy, squeeze some talent out of Southern California, San Diego, and because of FIFA rules, you can recruit across the border in Mexico.
Yeah.
And then you turn them into stars and you sell them on. I think this is all more about the developmental machine than it is about just being a soccer club.
Yeah,
an
it
MLS
makes
team.
sense. And you dropped an important name right there. For people that want more information on this, Mark Ziegler, for people that don't know, very famous long-term sports journalist in the San Diego area. Consider him like the Kevin Baxter for the LA Times of San Diego. If you're just looking for someone to follow down in San Diego for the sports stories, definitely can follow Mark Ziegler. Great resource. But I agree with you. And one thing I would like to see them hopefully tap into as well, which I think would be a really cool thing, is I haven't seen anyone really truly marry how big the craft beer culture in San Diego is. Truly, you may not know this. Like
No.
like
I'm sure it's a thing.
Like
I know Stone. Yeah,
is
sure.
one of the biggest craft brew areas in the country. I haven't seen anyone really nail.
So we're
tapping
talking
into
like
that market with
San Diego Cerveza FC, like that. Like,
no, not like that.
wow.
I just mean like find a way to incorporate it into the atmosphere of the.
I
of
mean,
the stadium.
if you want to only calcify the perception that American soccer is for a very certain type of middle-aged white dude, then yes, lean
You think
heavily
only white
into
dudes
the
drink craft beer.
That's a joke, Jared. Just chill out, man. I'm not
What do you
hating
think
on the
Hispanics
craft.
drink? I want to hear the answer.
Not hating on. I'm not hating on it, Jared. I'm just making a joke. Okay, you know what I'm talking about here. Okay, so obviously this is a club that, or this is an effort that surprised some people because we were talking Vegas not that long ago. There are again, I'll mention that people are concerned about Loyal. There's also that idea that Major League Soccer shouldn't have done this because Loyal is already there. Jared, do you have any
That's a
time
tough
for
one.
that idea?
That's a tough one, man, because you watch MLS partner with the Sounders, partner with the Whitecaps, partner with the Timbers. You know, they have a history of bringing up the team that was already had an existing fan base. Now, granted, the Loyal doesn't have the history that those other teams don't.
FC Cincinnati. Go ahead.
Yeah, FC Cincinnati, first place in MLS, FC Cincinnati. They have a history of doing this. So it's odd when you see them not do it, not go that direction. What's different here than those other teams? Were they not willing to work with them? Did they not have enough of a toehold in the community? Do they not have the history? I think those are all legitimate things that could be going on there, but it also just feels weird not to take advantage of Landon Donovan's team.
The thing that pisses me off about this one is that it is, and I know the Sick-One branch of the nation, I don't know the names, and my apologies. I saw them today. They're tough to pronounce.
Sick-One's right. There's a bigger name to it, but Sick-One is
the bigger nation. Yes.
Yeah.
Then they leaned heavily into that in the presentation. Talked about how those people have been living in that area for 12,000 years and all. That's all very nice. Look, I'm not, and I'm glad that there is that local connection. However, you brought in the treasurer of the Tory party of the United Kingdom, an Egyptian billionaire, whose one of his businesses is building these academies around the world, who have this very nice sheen and, we're giving opportunity to players. And if not for this Right to Dream Academy, these players would have no chance to X, Y, and Z. All of that's very nice, but let's not pretend like there's not a business element to this. This isn't...
There's one interesting thing here that I haven't heard anyone talk about, and I think this is a first for the U.S. in MLS in the United States. People may not know, Sick-One is also a casino in San Diego.
Well, that's where their money comes from to be part of this. But
Well, I don't know if a lot of people know that they're partnering with a casino brand as well in doing this.
They're partnering with a group of people who are invested in casinos. Yeah. Yes, who knows how that's going to manifest with the club? It's just, and I know. Look, I know we got City Football Group, right? I know that they're part of MLS and the culture, and they own a club, and they have connections to sovereign wealth and sort of this foreign influence. And it's not necessarily just a foreign thing, although, you know, if you ask an Englishman about how foreign ownership has gone in their country with clubs, they'd say, we hate it. You know, we don't want it anymore. I don't know how comfortable I am saying it's the foreign thing, but it's the nature of the money, right? It's where the money comes from. It's not like, I guess American billionaires can be just as bad as any other billionaire, but there's just something about the way this came together, how quickly it came together. It feels weird.
And it's also the track record of this money in football. Like, what fans that have, I guess Man City's fans are probably pretty happy with what they've done there.
Oh, they're thrilled.
But they
Are you
also
kidding
know
me?
that they've sold. They know that they've sold their soul a bit.
Yeah, but
They know
I
that they have.
bet you a lot of them are complete denial about that.
Yeah.
And I really don't blame them for being in complete denial about it either. Newcastle fans, did you see how they were dressing when the word of the Saudi takeover was happening? They were dressing they were cosplaying, right, as Saudis, because for them this was salvation. And I mean, MLS is not anywhere near that in terms of the connection to the community and
I'm not the person to talk about this.
and-
My team's funded by Phil Anschutz. So, like, I got tainted goods over here, too. And
I mean, that's the thing, right? We all have to make our peace with some of this stuff. If you even just talk about governance and, like, the people that run FIFA and how grubby their hands are and how much, they're taking out of the game, if you want to enjoy the sport, you have to block off those concerns. You have to kind of say, I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to let that infect my love of the game, right? Whether it's AEG, whether it's Mansour, whether it's CFG, whether it's any sort of big corporation with people who have done shady things to make their money, or are part of a government that limits people's rights. I mean,
at the same time, I feel like we should be careful saying that we just assume his money's dirty. We don't know much about his finances.
I don't think you have to go looking very far to see that he's maybe done some stuff and been involved in some things. And again, that's really not even it for me. It's more of, it's not that he's Egyptian. It's not that he's foreign. It's I don't know. It's the suddenness. It doesn't feel as
well. It's missing the organic nature that like the Cascadia teams have.
Everything in Major League
Philadelphia
Soccer
Union with the Sons of Ben and like
there's no okay. If we're gonna talk about organic, it's about as close as you get. Maybe the Portland Timbers, Philadelphia Union with a supporters group who existed before the team did.
Charlotte I think has a nice organic feel to it.
Well, but they still have a billionaire who was
for sure.
But he was like, I own the football team here. I want to buy a soccer team, and he kind of. Even though I'm not going to say again that billionaire is a good billionaire, I don't know that exists necessarily in any real way. There's at least that thing that like a Charlotte guy invested in Charlotte soccer.
There's something organic there.
Mansour's like, I flew in for the presentation. I'm back on a plane to London tonight. Like, I don't know.
Well, you could make the argument that the native tribes that are involved are the organic the part of this. The part of this that is the organic piece. But it is still weird when you have San Diego Loyal just sitting there as a blueprint and a box that you could open and just move into MLS. There had to be a negotiation there, and it had to have not gone right.
Yeah, they apparently did talk. I don't know how far they got. The San Diego owner put out a statement the other day before the official announcement, because it was already out there in the rumor mill, that, hey, we're not going to go anywhere. Like, we've heard that another club's going to come in here, and he said all the right things without actually, like, he didn't take any shots. He didn't say they shouldn't come. He didn't get angry in the statement. He just said, we're not going anywhere. I hope that's true, right? I don't want the club. I don't want San Diego Loyal to die. I don't want San Diego Loyal to die so that FC San Diego can live. We lost a St. Louis team. Now, part of the complication there was that the ownership group kind of bled over into St. Louis City. And they were like, we're not going to run a second division club when we've got a first division club to focus on. But, man, I don't know.
Is San Diego Loyal playing their games at Snapdragon as well?
No, they're playing at Torero. I think that's SDU.
USD or UCSD?
USD, whatever it is.
USD. Yeah, USD.
USD.
That's the private university down there.
So it's a small stadium, right? They're a USL
it's not,
championship team. 6,000 seat capacity, right? They're operating on a very different level than what this would be. Now, again, should there still be? And I mean, I don't know.
If you have a billionaire coming into your league, you have a billionaire coming into your league, and they're going to play in a stadium not meant for them, not right. Shouldn't there have been a stadium commitment announced at the same time?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
If this isn't New York City, there's land in San Diego. Now, is it where they want it? Maybe not. But there
was another proposal, but it was put forth by a third party, and I just think that and it was not. I don't know San Diego geography. Somebody in the chat may know where this thing was. It was one of those mixed use development ideas. I mean, I don't know. At the same time, for the city of San Diego and sort of maximizing what they're getting out of Snapdragon, yeah, fill the joint up with more games. Play more. Now, you with Wave there and football in the fall, you do wonder about surfaces and all that stuff. But
I do wonder, like with his what'd you call it? What's the short guys for basketball organization? Rise to Shine,
Right to Dream. I do wonder.
Yeah. whatever happened to
president of that organization?
I would love, maybe this is something for Pablo Maurer to do a thing on. What happened to the Olympic Development Program facilities in Chula Vista that were the hub of youth soccer in America for quite some time?
By the way, that may have been where the stadium was being, the third-party stadium idea was Chula Vista.
Oh, was Chula Vista? That's almost the
yeah.
border. Like, that is throwing a rock and hitting the border. Like, it's very, very close.
Again, I don't know any about
No, and that's where the ODP for all the 90s and into the 2000s, the Olympic Development Program was out of Chula Vista. So there are big, huge facilities that support soccer down there.
Let me wind up the San Diego MLS thing, and just last thing before we get out of here. Number one, I think it was Morgan who said in the chat earlier that Jesus Ferreira has squashed the Napoli rumors. Apparently he
Why would you do
came
that?
out. I don't know.
Did you watch Dave this last week? Did you watch Dave where he was trending? People thought he was dead and just let it go for a while.
Dave. I'm done with Dave. I don't know.
What?
Dave's off my list.
This season's good.
It's off my list. Maybe I need to replace Ted Lasso with Dave because I got issues.
Ted Lasso's still fantastic.
Okay, you're the only one that thinks this, by the way. You're the only one that thinks
everyone else wants to be fanboys in a keyboard at a forum talking about, like, I would have written it differently. Like, just enjoy the damn ride.
Some people said just finish, tell a good story. That's all they're saying. Tell a good story.
The story's good.
What are you doing leaving that story unfinished? That one's rushed. We didn't know what
You're judging them before they're done with the story.
Okay, well, we know some things happened off screen, and we're like, oh, that interesting. But suddenly okay, whatever.
Yeah, Connor right here. Last episode was great.
All right, let's do a quick poll. Who thinks the last episode of Ted Lasso was great? By Lasso standards. By Lasso standards.
This guy right here.
All right, forget that. I was going to ask. I was going to throw in the mix Ricardo Pepi. The rumor mill is getting fired up. We'd already heard him being linked to PSV Eindhoven and to Feyenoord. Those are now there's supposedly a battle happening. I've seen the PSV.
But we still think neither team has the money, right?
So PSV's record is something like 14.5 million euros. That the record signing, right? And Ricardo Pepi went for something like 19 million euros. I don't know what the exchange rate would be right now, but 20 million bucks to Augsburg is way more than 14.5 million euros. I don't think Feyenoord can be much more than that. I don't think it can be much higher than that. The Dutch clubs are not swimming in cash.
Yeah.
Even Ajax is not spending money on players. They sell players, and then they go and they sign some lesser players to try to stay competitive and be the best team in a what is that, the fifth or sixth or seventh best league in Europe, at best, right? If we're being honest about it.
Yeah. So you know what? You know what's funny? Like, what is the fifth best league these days?
No, it's hold on. It's the Premier League, the
Germany.
Bundesliga, La Liga,
Italy,
Serie A, France,
and then it's a
question. Then it's
is it Austria? Is it Holland?
It's between Holland,
Portugal,
and Portugal. I think would be the contenders.
Not Danish.
You could throw Belgium in there, but I don't think it's close. I don't think Belgium's on the same level.
Greece?
They want to. Greece has like two teams. Well, they want to combine.
So does La Liga.
No,
three now.
There's
Three
quality.
Now.
There's quality throughout. There's quality throughout La Liga. It's a higher level. I was gonna say
it could be the championship. The English championship could be the fifth best.
The Dutch and the Belgians wanted to do a combined league because they just don't have enough teams to compete with the rest of Europe or enough big, decent clubs. Anyway, all right. What the championship? That's actually a good shout. The English championship is probably in there somewhere, pretty close. All right. Any other business to get to? Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Check us out there. Support the show.
Shout out to everybody who's converted. I know we went through a little bit of a confusing process to get to where we are now. We are doing bonus stuff. You'll get that through Patreon. The video for the bonus show last week went up right away. I've posted the audio for anybody who wants to hear it that way. We're committed to doing those pretty regularly. What else? Oh, Best Soccer Show t-shirts, which Nicholas Soup and Sausage is modeling for. I'm going to need you to stand up, sashay, turn around, come back to the screen.
He doesn't have pants on, dude. You're assuming he's rocking like nothing but underwear under there.
We need to get the cutoff version of that, right? The Sun's Out, Balogun's Out version.
We just need to put that on a shirt. Why is that not on a shirt?
We need
Sun's Out, Balogun's Out.
Balogun's Out. We do need to put that on a shirt.
That's the white boy summer T-shirt.
Yeah. I will throw this in there too. The Slack, the community with the besties, is a fabulous place to talk soccer and life and share pictures of your cats or your kids. What else can you do in there, Jared? No hanky
talk about Ted
funny
Lasso.
business.
Complain
Talk
about
about
Ted Lasso.
We have that. We have a channel for everything, basically. We have a movie channel called, what is it?
Nikki Soup and Cinema.
Nikki Soup and Cinema, I think, something like that.
Like
I don't
that.
know.
Nick's saying shaking his head like we're wrong, but yeah, it's something
I don't
like
know what
that.
it's called.
I'm not in it.
Oh,
You're not in it?
I don't think so.
Did we say that there's an open cup forum as well? There's an open cup forum.
You're not in the channel named after you for movies and TV? Are you
Probably
serious?
not. I don't know. I have to look.
That's hilarious. So anyway, that's a thing that's happening over there. I'm
Hey,
working-
shout out to Freddie who had a baby. We didn't say that last week. Shout out to Freddie who just had his baby.
Shout out
But
to Fred-
There's babies and besties everywhere.
Oh,
All the
man.
besties
by
are
the
from
way,
babies.
I'm wondering if we should ask for those children, Jared.
Wait, how do you mean that?
Like, should we raise these children? Like, should it be our responsibility to raise them as proper besties? Like, I feel like
I have 2 kids and I don't want them. Why would I want more?
it's a good question. Okay, it's a good point.
Can
maybe
these
a
newborns
commune?
mow my lawn yet?
A commune? Can we do a commune? We could do like I've seen the Netflix documentaries. We
I
could find some
have
land.
always wanted to have a cult.
Can there be a cult with 2 leaders, or is that just not possible?
Well, right now they're doing it with DeSantis and Trump, right? Isn't that what's happening?
Okay.
My bad. I thought that was happening.
Okay. I'll give you that one.
Give me all your books.
Just saying. I'm wondering if we should be responsible for raising these children as proper besties. But the other thing I was going to say is, and this is extra double bonus, kind of. I've got a new project that I've been working on for a couple months. I'm getting ready to launch it. I feel fairly comfortable. I'm learning how to do some. I'm not
Cool
learning.
concept.
I know how to
Cool
do
concept.
a little video editing. I'm trying to get things together. If you want to be on the ground floor of that, if you want to maybe help me with some response to the actual work, I don't know, if you want to give me feedback, if you want to be part of the creative process on some level, join up at the Patreon, patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. I think it's really cool. I mean, it's not
I
a
enjoyed
complicated concept, but it's really cool. So if you're interested in learning about what else I'm doing, you can do that too. All right. Yeah, we do need some bestie branded Kool-Aid now, Jared. That's a thing we have to have.
Yes. Some purple Nikes.
What flavor would you want for our bestie?
Dude, I'm a
branded-
grape or cherry. Those are the only 2 okay Kool-Aids for me. It has to be one of those 2. And it has to be from the powder. You gotta have from powder. You can't buy like the juicers or whatever. The ones that are already mixed. You need to put the inappropriate amount of powder.
Yes.
More powder than you need to make it super sugary.
Some people as children may have eaten that powder by a
Oh, by the
spoonful every
way,
now and then.
I'm mistaken. I remember Kool-Aid. There's the powder and the sugar. You got to do both.
Well, so the original old school
Yes.
Kool-Aid, you had the packet, and then you had to add the
Did
sugar.
you add too much sugar?
You had too much sugar, but
On
then
purpose.
they did go to more of a, plastic
Like
container
Country Time
all in
lemonade,
one.
kinda like-
yes, Tang
That's
or
some bullshit.
whatever that was.
That's a bullshit. Who are you to tell me how much sugar I need?
How many
That's un-American.
scoops-
That's the
how many
least American thing
scoops
I've ever heard. Tell me how much
goes
sugar
in
I
2
should have.
quarts because you can make that shit really strong, like pow. You can, yeah, man. Kids these days don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know, Jared. They don't know about channel surfing. They don't know about Kool-Aid. I don't know.
You remember Fruit Stand? Did you ever have Fruit Stand?
No,
like
I
the
don't know
little
what that
mini
is.
little bottles of juice. They were called Fruit Stand. Those are good. Pure.
No,
sugar.
we had little barrels, the little hugs.
Yeah, I think that's Fruit Stand.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Same thing.
I don't know.
Maybe it's
Somebody
branding.
correct me.
Maybe West Coast was different branding
know.
than the East Coast. All right, that's it. We're done. Any other business, Mr. Dubois?
That's it, buddy.
All right. Thanks to Nicholas Soup and Sausage. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Michael freaking Orozco Fiscal.
Damn, dog, that's in a props.
The horror show.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Oh, it's incredible!
We are at DEF CON 1.
And get fucking stuck in, Madrook.
Duh and or hello.
Danger zone!
Who asked those questions?
What are we doing?
Oh, here we go, saucing them up. Hit them, wet.
Oh, it's incredible!
Jay Rodius.